This is a quick review of the Arturia KeyStep 37 controller and sequencer. What I'm going to do is unbox it, then I'm going to plug it in my iPad so we can give it a whirl, and then after that, for those who care, I will read off what's on the box. So first let's unbox this thing. I have used an Arturia before, and I really liked the way it felt. And I actually bought this because the latest keyboard I have, which is not an Arturia, I bought because it's really compact, but I just didn't like the way the keys felt, so I decided to go back to this Arturia brand because it feels really robust. It's like the casing is metal. Even though the keys are smaller, they feel good. It's much easier to play on this and more fun to play on this than a lot of cheaper, I don't want to say cheaper, but just different controllers. So here's what comes in the box. You have, of course, your keyboard. You have a USB plug, and it has these 3 1/8" to 1/8" adapters, which plug in here. For these features, you have sync and CV outputs for mod, gate, and pitch. So that's a little bit above my pay grade, and I won't be demoing those features today, but just FYI. And then it also comes with a little hub, which I'm guessing is in case you are plugging in multiple items, your keyboard and something else, to your computer, or potentially also, I guess, you can plug multiple things in here. I'm not really sure. I'll have to research what that's for. But anyways, there it is. I'm going to plug it in my iPad now so you can hear it. Okay, so I got this baby plugged in. So, what can I say? The keys are definitely smaller than normal keys on a piano, so this is kind of a miniature thing, but for what it is, being compact, it's great. One thing to note, in plugging this in, I had to do, I actually already, having had this problem, bought this special cable. So if you're using USB-C like I am, the cable that they include is USB 2.0. So it goes, I don't know what this size connector is called, but this one goes USB to, if you can see on there, USB to that kind. So without using some kind of an adapter, you can buy on Amazon this particular cable, and this takes care of the cabling. So when I plugged it in, like so, USB into my iPad, and this end into the back of the Arturia, I was using this app called Ravenscroft, which is awesome, beautiful piano sounds. And I just had to go to the menu here and set up the MIDI preferences and tell it automatically instantly recognized the Arturia KeyStep. I just had to select it, and then we're off and running. So I am not a piano expert, so I'm not going to cover all the features, but here's what I know because I've used it before. You have the octave buttons here, so if you're holding down a chord, you know, I've also used the play, stop, and start for GarageBand. Will work on my iPad here in GarageBand. In fact, let me show it to you. Okay, so I did open it up in GarageBand, and it works great, plug and play. I didn't even have to set any preferences. But for iPad at least, I have not, in short amount of time, been able to figure out how to get it to recognize the record features. In fact, I think there's something going on where it might be recording this internally. So yeah, it looks like these functions, I know these can be MIDI mapped, but it's not like plug and play apparently to use at least this section on iPad. I don't want to make any promises that I'm not clear on about what all this is and what it can do for other things, because I'm not super familiar with it, but I know that each of these things, first of all, can be MIDI mapped. In terms of whether they're plug and play on other things, I don't know. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video once I have that figured out. But ultimately, am I happy with this? Yes. This is just what I had before, but I had a slightly smaller version. So I like that there's, I'm not sure how many, so it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 octaves on here. Or let's explore the box. Let's consult the box. So here's what the box says. We have a 37-note key bed. Okay, so there's the answer on there. Arturia's popular slim keys, that's what I was mentioning, these keys are slimmer than normal, designed with velocity, sensitivity, and aftertouch. So yes, they are velocity sensitive and they have aftertouch. Arpeggiator mode, animate your chords with ease, up, down, exclusive, inclusive, exclusive, 3 random modes, and no order. 3, sequencer mode, 8 polyphonic step sequences with rest, tie, and legato note entry. Each sequence can have 64 steps. Each step can have up to 8 notes. 4, chord mode scale quantization. Create your own custom chord or browse through the list of predefined ones. Quickly edit the number of notes in the chord and use to create a strum effect. Quantize notes to a list of standard or user-definable scales. The LEDs above the keys immediately tell you which notes are allowed in the scale. That's cool. So once again, the LEDs above the keys immediately tell you which notes are allowed in the scale. So if you're playing a song and you know the scale, then you could follow the lights to know which keys to press and which ones not to press, depending on whether they're lit up. 5, tempo and transport controls. Easily stay in control of your performance with dedicated buttons. 6, 4 rotary knobs, 4 accessible banks of 4 cc, so these guys. Letting you bridge the gap between your controller and your software or hardware instruments. 7, visual feedback LEDs. See how your sequence is advancing and what notes are playing with per key LEDs. So that's cool. I guess this works also as a sequencer, and these lights here will tell you where you are in the sequence. So there's a lot more here. I'm probably just going to kind of breeze through this, but it has a section about sequencers and controllers. You can read that and pause it if you want. Performance and production, awesome connectivity. Included in this box, it comes with Ableton Live Lite, Analog Lab Intro, and I'll just hold this here if you care to read any of these other things. Just pause it if you need. So, final thoughts. I'm happy. I love Arturia. I think they make good stuff. This is metal. I mean, it's not every day you get a MIDI device that's actually got a metal housing. So it feels very robust. It's got a digital screen. It's got all these bells and whistles that if you're a more advanced user you can dive into. It's compact. This isn't probably going to fit in a carry-on luggage case, or if you do, it's going to be a tight squeeze. But certainly for a check bag. And would fit nicely on your desk if you're a producer. And once again, this is what it looks like on the back here. Those are, so you've got MIDI, sustain pedal, sync, CV outputs, clock, and a lock if you want to keep theft control on this. It's got rubber bottoms and feels good, and I'd say it sounds good, but obviously the sound is actually from my iPad, but it's a good sound. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Arturia KeyStep 37 controller and sequencer. Thanks for watching.